Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday night. What's up, guys? Listen, we all need a little bit of a break sometimes, and right now is a good time between that rainy part of the spring and getting into that actual, good weather. We just had that episode last week about 420, kind of talked about cannabis. Actually, to be honest, I'll see what you guys think, but to be honest, I think it was a lot more informational than I thought. I kind of half expected kind of just a sesh, but we got into it pretty deep. So tonight, we're going to try to, maybe hit that relief valve and talk a little bit about a couple serious things, but also sort of mention how good it is to accomplish things as far as when your mental health you feel that relief, when you actually get to a certain point, a goal. And for me personally, I actually got to a certain appointment that I had been waiting on a long time, and it was yesterday, and it went well. And maybe we'll get into it. But before we do, guys, hit that like button for us, smash it, share it out with your friends. We got Jason with the 42710 family as usual, like clockwork. And we also got Kim Axtell with the Head Shenanigator Association over at the Legit Bean Review Remastered. Appreciate you guys coming every week. I know the people that watch the show, they appreciate the show because you have this gut feeling that we need this kind of thing, right? The sharing of, perspectives. It's really so important. And I love to hear people's perspectives. So,
well, I'm lucky enough that last week we talked about my favorite topic, cannabis. This week we're talking about my second favorite topic, mental health. Mental health, it is definitely my second favorite topic. So two of the biggest shows that we've, in the past, we've done shows on 420, we've done shows on mental health, and they've turned out being really, really great shows. And I personally have received several messages after the shows saying, thank you. I really needed today. I didn't think I was at that point, but you guys really crossed the line and showed, that it's okay to not be okay, and
you got to get those sometimes. We don't always hit those deeper episodes, but yeah, we got to.
And I'm not scared to talk about my mental health. I'm not scared to talk about my attempted suicides. I'm not scared to talk about any of that. So it is a very, very big topic and hit home topic for me. So
what is up, everybody? Appreciate you all coming in, hitting that. You know what's up? We're gonna put that wheel up in a minute for the shares and likes. Kim, hello.
This Kim, or is it somebody in the
audience?
Oh, you. Hey, what's up?
What's up? Tell all your adoring fans, your people in the boxes, Team Kim fans out there. Hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm a little low tonight.
Yeah. Well, you were part of the reason that we brought this topic up, and we can let you get into it as much as you like. Obviously, that's all up to you. So no pressure there.
Hey, Rose. Yeah.
What is up? Excuse me.
That's a Weimaraner.
Say again?
That's a Weimaraner.
Is that like a type of complaining? Like whining?
No, put Paul Kurtz back up. That picture right there, that dog.
Okay.
That's a Weimaraner.
Never heard of such dog.
Oh my God, they're only the best dogs ever. That's all I raise are Weimaraners.
Well, where's your current Weimaraner at?
My last Weimaraner broke my heart and died in 2011 from cancer, and I haven't been able to bring myself to have another one. Because I literally helped her be born. I pulled her out of her mom because she got stuck. And when she was 4 weeks old, she came to live with me. So she was an awesome dog.
Yeah, I mean, I did put that in the description here. I'll read that for those of you who didn't read the description, namely, co-hosts.
Well, I'm sorry.
I read it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but my brother's funeral was today. I had to rush.
Oh, I didn't know it was today. Okay.
Yeah, it was today. I had to rush home. I have been taking fucking cold showers for the last several days because my water heater went out. So I had to rush home so the maintenance guys could come and reinstall a new water heater.
Jeez.
And then I've been running around I had to shower again because I felt yucky because it's super windy here. Like you couldn't even see the mountains. There's really bad dust. And and I just had no water, so I was running around doing things that needed to have water. Thank you, Paul. My brother and I had a very complicated, not happy relationship, so it's been a rough last 2 weeks.
When my brother passed, we didn't have a negative relationship, but we didn't really have a relationship. And so maybe somewhat similar in that feeling of, wishing that was different. Whether or not you had that negative relationship, that still similarly would be something that you wish was different before that, But I kind of lumped a few things together here. I said it's a good time for another mental health break. Have you ever experienced burnout? Because a lot of us are, getting through that crappy weather at the time of year where we're still trying to work to the end of our, to our summertime as it is, our break usually. How do you deal with loss? And then so I kind of putting different mental health issues together, but kind of a general episode that we do here on People in the Boxes, like 2 or 3 times now, where we just kind of have a mental health episode, and it's not that we're trying to dissect any sort of specific mental health, disorders or anything like that. It's just good to be able to talk about things and have an open forum. So if you guys are out there and you want, to come up, I've been putting the link out there on my page, but you might be watching from X or from YouTube or Rumble. So if you want to get the link, let us know, and I'll find a way to get it to you. But let's see. I did put something else in here. Yeah, seasonal depression, because it is that change of the season time, and it's not one we think about a lot. But going from spring to summer, it's kind of chaotic. Like today, I was mowing my grass with a hoodie on. I went inside to recharge the battery. I come back out. I had to take the hoodie off because it went from cold to not cold. And I'm like, geez, I know that's not the biggest deal, but it is kind of a constant annoyance until things settle down. Did you guys see my posts I made today? I found some mushrooms in my yard. Yeah. So that's one cool thing about the season change. I know a lot of people are posting their pictures out there of cool, like their hauls they're finding and stuff. I should walk down in the woods. I just haven't yet. I should switch on my boots and go walking in the woods.
Are you talking morels?
Mm-hmm. The good ones, yeah. I only found 3, and they look like a couple of them had been like gnawed on a little bit. But I'm so. I'm gonna eat them.
I know a lot of people that just hunt for them and don't eat them. So.
Sell them, like a bounty hunter.
Burnout with work. That is a huge one. Huge one. Yeah. And I think us here in the United States, I truly believe we might be the only country who does not have burnout pay. If you look it up in the UK, London, several areas over there, I know Japan, China, several of these places, they have what they call is burnout pay. You go to your doctor, tell him that I'm burnt out. I'm literally burnt out. I'm burnt out from work. I'm burnt out from the kids. I'm burnt out from this. And they will give you X amount of time paid from work. I truly believe it's one of the things that we should try to implement in the United States.
I don't know. Do you think that burnout is less impactful when you get to change up what you're doing? If you have a job where you kind of get to move around to different positions?
No. Right now we're dealing with. It's the hardest time for me personally. I think Not personally, but it's a very hard time for people right now because they're coming out of seasonal depression.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming out of the winter blues, trying to come right into summer where it's nice, able to go. But it has been a hard couple years for people. I believe we're in a Great Depression. I think we're worse off than we ever were during the Great Depression. Some people definitely are worse off. You know,
we don't know how to handle what's happening. We've talked about technology. We've talked about a few things, and all of that is causing our mental and instability, to say the least. All right, this is a like and share wheel, guys. Just so you know, I'm going to do another spin for the numbers later, but this one's going to be for liking and sharing. Go ahead.
But being burnt out with work, I think work gets the short end of the stick because our daily life, we are burnt out on so much, but we can't take it out on our daily life. We can't take it out on the family and the friends and the spouses and everybody that's around. So we throw all that negativity into our work environment. I got to be here 40 hours a week. They're not fucking paying me worth it. I don't want to be here. I should be at home doing this, this, and this. When we go home, what happens? We're pissed off. We're depressed. We're irritated. We don't get this, and this done. Our mental health is still climbing down a deeper and deeper hole. And then it turns into a revolving door. We're up again, going back to work tomorrow, pissed off that we didn't get nothing done at home, pissed off that we got to go back to a job that doesn't pay us enough.
Well, then it depends on where you break. Do you snap at work or do you snap at home? You know, in front of everybody. Depending on where you're at, that's the problem. And then if you don't, and like to into what with loss, Kim, did you get to take any bereavement days? Like sometimes that's not even a thing. And I think somebody just came into the backstage.
I can take up to 7 bereavement days, but I only took 2. I didn't want to be home perseverating on things, so
right.
Sanity. I needed to be at work.
John, we saw you there in the backstage. If you want to come back, I'm not sure who that was. If that was you, was that John Falk?
They do have shorter work weeks too. I am an advocate 100% for 4-day work weeks. I think we can get more done in a 4-day work week than a 5-day work week. I think we're very much more productive at work. I think we're much more productive at home. I think people are happier at their job with a 4-day work week.
Yeah, to Elisa May's point, Kim is a special needs teacher, so you definitely need more time for mental health day. The issue is, I think it's always somewhere that the school wants to cut funding when they think that there are too many people being used for a certain job, but sometimes you need more people. Like especially like having aides for some kids at school, like that's a whole nother ball of wax. Yeah, some of the kids need.
Do they still have? It's been a long time since I've had to deal with schools. Just recently getting back into it, but do they still have it where like seniors can get credit for being a teacher aide for a lower class teacher?
Yeah, in my school they do. They also have I think it's called a work study program. So like kids that work, there's certain conditions, like you have to work at a job that gives you a pay stub. But they can earn credits while they're doing their job at McDonald's.
Nice.
So
we had that. It was called co-op. That's what it was called when we were in school.
Well, that's one program we have. I don't know if that's open to all.
I had co-op,
but I know it is for our special ed kids. They have like an apprenticeship program. I can't think of what it's called. They have an acronym for it, and they just changed the name of it this year. So But it's an apprenticeship program where kids, let's say that your career pathway is in the medical field, you want to be a sports medicine trainer or something like that. And so, you can, I think it's the entire school year, you can go out and you could do an apprentice kind of a job. You're not going to get paid for it or anything, but you earn credit and you get real life experience in whatever career you're interested in going into.
I think all kids should get that chance, but
Oh, that is all kids.
Well,
in our district, in our
don't
school.
they have a different parameter though? Like between, let me ask you, like, do they let you choose a job that's part of your quote career, or do they let you choose any job?
No, it has to be part of your career pathway.
Yeah, so I got to do any job basically. I had a certain teacher that would basically, basically say that whatever they had to say that you could work there. So I worked at Long John Silver's for my co-op.
Yeah. No, ours is specifically tied to
What's up, Smash?
whatever it is that you're going to do for a career after you leave high school.
What's up, Charles? What's up? Let's see. Let me shout out real quick to Bradley Gibson and Cindy Paul are my two newest subscribers. Shouts out to you two guys. Thank you for subscribing.
Cindy just said, what did she just say here? I was reading that and then it scrolled by. She says, I worked 25 years as a server at Texas Roadhouse, 5 4-hour shifts. Make that tip money and run. That sounds brilliant. If you're able to do that, that is great. If you can if you're Texas Roadhouse or whatever restaurant it is, if you're a people-oriented person doing a short shift with tip money, yeah, that would work out wonderful with people. It definitely helps because an 8-hour shift in a restaurant is very tolling. Very, very tolling on people. You're having to deal with a breakfast rush, dinner rush, lunch rush, all 3 rushes most of the time. And our fast food employees get the short end of the stick from us every single day. We end up taking out a lot on them that isn't their fault.
You ever been to a Chick-fil-A though? It's a different vibe inside there.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe.
If you can go on a Sunday, let me know. That's when we'll talk.
Well, I mean, you can go on a Sunday. You're just not going to get in.
But I think our servers get the short end of the stick a lot, and their mental health we kind of abuse them. We take out because our food is nasty. We might accidentally take it out on them. They didn't cook the food. They didn't make it. Yeah. So I believe 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts in a restaurant, that's very difficult. And I owned a restaurant for
no lunch break.
No, you stand there and eat.
Have you ever done the shift where you do the morning and then you have like an hour or 2 hours off and then you do the evening shift? And so it's like almost not enough to go home, but it's also not enough to just sit there. So you got to find something to do around the area. But you have a nice that can be less stressful because you get that little bit of kind of breathing room, in the middle, get time to eat and to de-stress.
Kim, that's only in California though.
Split shift.
Yeah, she said they're making $20 an hour now, but that's only in California.
And it doesn't mean
no other state that has reached that.
And did you hear the lengths that some of these places are going to
not pay someone?
Yeah. Well, they got teller machines now. They have automated machines to take your order. It's raised the prices.
I think I saw that they're experimenting with robots. So
robots,
unbelievable.
I mean, it's like with restaurants, they don't make as much money. The most of the money that they make, I think, goes to labor I think is the biggest expense. And it usually is in most places, but you don't make as much, I know that the food, you don't make that much money off the food or as much money off the food.
Nope.
I can't think of what it's called, but so it's like, if your labor expenses go up, where are you going to cut?
Mm-hmm.
Are people going to want to pay as much money for a Mickey D's?
Nope.
It's got to come from somewhere. And the thing is like people are just not going to frequent these establishments.
Yeah. It's been 25 days since they put it in, since they implemented it, and they've already seen a rise in grocery stores.
Yeah.
Grocery stores have already increased.
Yep.
Like, well, okay, so is this going to be the end of fast food? Is it going to be the demise of fast food because it's convenient? That's the only thing about it.
Yeah.
That is the only thing about fast food is
let me ask you
convenient.
this. What if there was a place? What if there was a restaurant where, well, I don't know how that would be a nightmare for the EPA, but where like you brought the food and they just cooked it, like
we have one here.
Oh, really?
We have a barbecue and a sushi place here that you literally bring the food, they fucking cooked it all up, plate it all up in containers, and you take it home and go. Now it is on our it's on the south side. So it is one of the, like, a lot of people will not visit that establishment because of the neighborhood that it is in, but I walk in there all the time with fucking lobster legs and shit. Easier for them to cook it, and I'll be back in fucking hour.
Would you guys eat bugs?
What?
It was
crickets.
It was this conversation I saw on Twitter. There was a picture of these like cicadas. They're talking about how they're trying to coax people to eat these cicadas. Well, then I brought up how, well, because you said lobster and stuff. I brought out how like lobster and crab and shrimp are basically just big sea bugs on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
and then we eat them and it's like, oh, that's good,
No, they're saying with the cicadas hatching, what, you guys probably got a week before Illinois is taken over, maybe 2 weeks.
It's gonna be crazy.
You want to hear something? I don't know if you guys have seen this. I've seen it like in the news feed the last couple of days, or the Facebook feed the last couple of days. But if you see this word, and I think it's called a cheetah, or I don't know, there's other words here. One of them's a cheetah is crickets, and then they have mealworms and grasshoppers. And on this particular meme that I'm looking at, it's got Tyson, Hillshire Farm, Sara Lee, Jimmy Dean, Ballpark, Gallo, Pierre, State Fair, Original Philly, Steakies. Those are all companies that use crickets, mealworms, and grasshoppers in the production of their food.
Yeah, you got to read the back. You got to read the ingredients now. There's certain names of stuff that's
Great value is horrible for it.
It doesn't say cockroach mix or whatever, but it has a name like chitin and things like that. Yeah, it's
Great value is horrible for it. They use anchovy byproduct or anchovy pieces in a lot of their stuff.
Who's that?
I think Great Value, Walmart brand.
Yeah.
They got anchovies in their maple syrup.
Gross.
Anchovy, they found out that all these different products have fish in them that no reason at all to have fish. Well, why are they going to have fish? Because certain fish are cheaper than dirt. And you grind all that up and use that as a filler.
250 stars. Thank you, brother.
What's up, Bradley? Star-Lord himself.
Yeah, so anyway, it's like, I guess they're using cricket flour is what the
Mm-hmm.
A cheetah is cricket flour. It's gross. I mean, I'm a survivor, so like
I'm a survivor.
I am one of these people. I'm a very picky eater. There's certain things that I won't eat, like guts, or if it's still got the head on it.
Oh, good.
I have conditions for my food. But if I'm starving and I need to eat, fuck yeah, I'm gonna roast me up a cockroach or eat a grub or
Best believe it. A handful of grass. Yep.
I mean, I was thinking theoretically when we talk about space travel or moving to other planets, I think insects would actually be one of the easiest and quickest ways to transport protein to, at first at least. And I know it might be far-fetched, but we are really like there's people working on moon bases and such. I think the easiest thing for us to be able to take would be insects and like stuff that reproduces fast. And
there's a lot of cultures that eat insects. It's part
right.
of their
I'm not saying I want to because they force us to, but yeah, you know. What's up, Kat? Kat, Smashley, come on up, ladies. Come on up, and you don't have to stay all night. You know, it feels like we, you know, can't seem to fill our boxes anymore. I try not to. We won't talk about. Well, we do have a couple of, you know, sad topics, but not terrible. Just let it out. It's a let it out type of night. In the tub, well, come on, Kat. That's how you get to, you know, 20,000 subscribers. Come on now. That's how you can't come up and help out the algorithm.
Don't be shameless.
LOL, no. Kat, that's where the not the way to do that. Well, I mean, it's one way. So I guess I'll talk about, well, okay. One of the things I brought up 420 for was that there's a lot of people that not just vendors, but performers and people that hadn't been out to an event yet because, you know, the weather and stuff. A lot of stuff like for the 420 weekend, at least for people who not just for cannabis users, but anybody that like are in and around that industry, we're all basically like stressed out waiting to get that over with because it's like a Black Friday almost in the cannabis industry. So like dispensaries and such. Like that's all hands on deck, you know, they have all these extra deals going and stuff. I went down to the dispensary actually on 420. That's about all I could do actually on the day. But yeah, I could imagine this being like a nice, like a relax, although a lot of events coming up. And I know I saw, well, I know there's a few big ones I'm going to go to, but like, I can't imagine that it's like time to really relax for vendors, but there's a ton of stuff coming up in the summertime. There's a couple things this weekend for kid friendly that I'm going to go to a magic show. I'm going to take KG to a magic show this weekend.
Now, do you medicate before you take them?
I don't know if I should be talking about that on the air.
Okay.
Hey, we got Smashley in the house.
What's up, Smashley?
Okay. I'm not in the tub.
I medicate before I go anywhere. So
yeah, but I mean,
I'll medicate before I go anywhere.
Yeah, but you're not driving.
If I didn't,
you're not driving.
It enhances the world. That's all it does.
What's up, Raymond? Hello.
What's up, Mr. Dawson?
Dawson's in the house.
Magic show, yeah, it's going to be fun. I don't know how he's going to take that a magic show. He might really enjoy it. There was another thing I'm going to with him. I think I saw another event the other day. I had Matt Anderson on my show Tuesday, and it was another Facebook event. I think it was a market of some kind. I'm going to take him to in the morning on Saturday. So those are fun, but they are a lot less stressful than a 420 festival. Smashley, how are you? I saw you were the special honored guest on Certified Terpy Thursdays.
I was. I was. Pretty fun. Lively show. I was nervous as fuck, but I did it.
You've been. So she came here where she's not nervous. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Let's make her
Yeah.
nervous.
This was
Make her
more of
more
a,
nervous.
friendly environment. Not like that they were mean.
It's-
You know what I mean, okay?
Be relaxed. You should be relaxed. She's saying we're the country bumpkins of the of the live
That's
streaming.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yep. One thing that I wanted to touch on, it was, I seen it the other day and I was like, okay. And it was hashtag DDD. Depression doesn't discriminate.
Interesting.
And very, and that really touched the spot. It was like, oh, because we've been pushing, I like pushing men's mental health because we don't talk about it enough. It never gets talked about enough. But women's mental health is just as important. Just as important out there. And I think it's kind of getting pushed to the back burner recently. And it shouldn't, because depression doesn't discriminate. Mental health doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, what race, what political party you choose. It doesn't matter at all, So it's just one of them things that I really, I thought it was a good one that I've seen that it really stuck for the DDD. Depression doesn't discriminate.
You're right.
Agreed.
I saw. Well, I don't know if a little shameless plug for my show yesterday. If you didn't see it, I had a brain doctor on I forget his exact field, Dr. Heath. He words it a lot differently on his X profile, but I think he's a psychologist. I don't want to say that and be wrong, but yeah, it was really incredible, like the way he can pick apart like all sorts of things that have to do with mental health. And I asked him if mental health was being used too much, if we talk about it too much as a crutch. And I asked him about like if he thinks that it's too much of a buzzword kind of thing. And he kind of said yes and no, because it's good that we talk about it more, but it's also you always have like the chance of people grifting or whatever. That's why this is not a let's dissect mental health. This is we're having a mental health day on people in the boxes. It's a little different angle because we want people to share how they're feeling and how they're doing and whatnot, and that's a different. That's going over some like textbook definitions,
So here's what I have.
Hang on, Kim, 1 second. Okay. As a family the other day, we went because we were having a mental health day, and we did splatter painting.
Oh,
yeah,
I've heard of that.
So just literally go to a room and splatter paint. And it was a great time. They gave you ponchos, they give you stuff like that to cover up with, protective covering, mouth covers, eye covers, and all that. And all you're doing is throwing paint. But I think that's the problem is we talk about it, but we don't deal with it. We don't figure out how we can handle it, figure out a way to combat, to fight against our mental health. You
heard of those smash rooms?
Yep.
I want to go
to smash rooms too. Yep. Sorry, Kim, I didn't mean to put you on hold, honey. I just didn't want to lose that thought.
That's all right. So my opinion is I kind of am along the lines of whoever it is you chat on your show, Guy, because there's good and there's bad with it. And
Dr. Heath, John.
You really want to bring the awareness, and I think there's been a real push in the last maybe 10 years or so for really more of a push, and it's been more focused towards men, because women have always been recognized, as mental health issues in women have always been recognized for a long time. But in men, it's always been stigmatized and something to be ashamed of, and You're not manly if you're depressed and, you know, and suffer from all these conditions, whatever. And so there's been a real push for awareness in that. Now, with that awareness, one of the things that I've noticed, and this just really bothers me, is, and it's probably has a lot to do with social media. So people will cling on to these ideas that they see, mental health kinds of ideas like gaslighting and narcissism and PTSD and whatever. And they suddenly diagnose themselves with that. Oh my God, one of my students came in and says, oh my God, I have PTSD because I broke a nail. You know, and it's like, so there's people.
It's a victim Olympics.
It's like an over-identification with aspects of hard things in life, but it's not, you know, it's like for people that like me that have bona fide PTSD, it's like I sit there and I look at them and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, what the hell is wrong with you that you're traumatized by breaking a nail or something?
It's very simple. You get points for it in the social hierarchy. You get social credit amongst your peers for having some kind of an ailment, a problem, you know, you had something happen to you. Oh, look at what was me. At least that's my opinion. And they call that the victimhood Olympics, or maybe there's different words for it. But I know it as the fact that we demote strong leadership now, because you have the tallest grass gets the blades, you know, or whatever the saying is. People like to, for some reason, we like to drag each other down instead of
yeah, it's like a competition. It becomes like
right. And so instead of standing out as, say, the strongest, fastest, smartest, you stand out by saying, oh, look at what happened to me. I've been, you know.
No, and it's not even like that, Waylon. I mean, there are people that to some degree, like I have this good friend and he's super smart, but he listens to a bunch of hocus pocus bullshit is where he gets his information from. And so, but he'll come up with this shit and he'll tell me I'm gaslighting him. And I'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? How am I gaslighting you? And so he'll explain what he thinks gaslighting is because he's read it somewhere on social media. And it's like, that's not at all what gaslighting is, you know? Or he'll come up with some other mental health thing. We were having a deep discussion one day and it got a little heated. And he told me something and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? How is that so? And then he explained himself and I'm like, dude, you're not even applying that correctly. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm seeing is people get half-cocked ideas and they start labeling themselves and they start labeling other people and they don't have any idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Right. And I want to address so Elisa May, I wasn't judging her student directly. What I should have said, what I mean is, like, in a general sense, a lot more people are using those things. Like for her to say I broke a nail and now I have PTSD. It wasn't, hey, look, I broke a nail. It was, oh, I'm a victim of PTSD now. Like, and I'm just, that's one example. What I mean is, like, that by and large has been growing as a way to score points with your friends. Like, oh, you know, look, she's got that, whatever, this issue or that issue. But yeah, I know what you mean, though, Lisa May. I don't like when I'm judging, like, sort of on the whole. But yeah, I guess, you know, sometimes we have to judge to an extent. I hate that we have demonized words like.
Exactly, right there.
What?
We demonized words.
Yeah, like things like when you're judging someone, it's not always like a bad thing. Like we make judgment calls all day long as far as discrimination. Discrimination is not always a bad thing. I discriminate when I look at my clothing to see what I'm going to put on. Like it's there, and you can look at the definition. I mean, it basically just means like your decision making process, and it's like we have the information that we have available, and we have to make a sort of assertions on that. And if you're someone who's not open to like new information, that's, I think, where you really get lost, because that's what this show's about. Like if I had some staunch, like, really hard position on something, and one of you gave me some information where I was like, hey, I didn't have that information before, like that point right there is where you show, like, if you're somebody who's willing to be open-minded or not. We've seen that backfire on some people on this show, the people that don't come back, the ones that can't handle the, like, actually be able to hear that.
Yeah. Well, not everybody is comfortable with the uncomfortable truth.
Yeah. The uncomfortable truth is that none of us really know everything, and I think every single person you meet knows something that you don't. And I always live by that. I end up talking to strangers. Sometimes that gets me into trouble, because you will find those strangers that are more into having conversation than you are, and then you can't get out of the conversations. Oh man, that's always fun in public places. I just want to keep talking. It's like, all right, well, I was being nice for a minute. Now I gotta go.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Well, I feel like a lot of the times there's like an over-identification of things too. Like when my son is 37, I think. And when he was a little guy, when he was probably about 6 or 7, they diagnosed him with bipolar disorder. And if you look at the DSM, which is the diagnostic manual that they use to diagnose people with mental illness, you cannot diagnose a person with major disorders like bipolar, schizophrenia, any of those mental health diagnoses. You cannot diagnose them below the age of 18 because they're developmental. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there's other conditions that apply with that. So anyway, so they diagnosed my son. He spent 2 years on a mental psychiatric ward, and he came out with a diagnosis of bipolar disorder. Well, it's really interesting because when they diagnosed him with that, it pissed me off. I was like, there's no way you can diagnose my child with this disease or this mental illness. And it's not because I'm one of those parents. It's because I'm a mental health professional. I have a mental health background. And so what happened, what was a consequence of that, was all of a sudden, all of these kids throughout the United States started getting that diagnosis because there was some research that was being done at the time that drove all of that stuff. And because my son had certain characteristics or whatever, they made a case for diagnosing him as bipolar. One of the things that I've also noticed is that they've done that with autism. And I'm not going to sit here and say that every single person that they diagnose is not autistic. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that autism doesn't exist. I work as a special ed teacher. I know it's a fact. But what I am saying is that there are mental health professionals out there that diagnose kids as having intellectual disabilities. What we used to formerly call mental retardation is now called an intellectual disability. There are people out there that diagnose children as intellectually disabled when they are not, and they also diagnose them with autism when they are not. And I don't know why. I don't know what that's about, but I do know we have 2 doctors in our community that are known for that shit.
I wonder if autism can be mixed in because there's a lot of times it's combined. There's multiple things. Autism may be one of the things, especially when you have mental retardation in general. Definitely is a different thing, but could also be.
It can be. It's called comorbid.
Right.
Comorbidity is when you have 2 different things that happen at the same time. So, for example, I had a little girl when I worked out in California that was diagnosed with autism, and she was schizophrenic, and she had something else. I can't remember what the third thing was. So she had 3 comorbid mental health illness diagnoses because her mom did heavy duty drugs when she was pregnant with the baby, and so the little girl came out all messed up.
I feel like I see, as far as it's kind of a different subject, but when you said about the baby, I feel like I see more babies having issues of all types, autism for sure, linked to premature babies. We talked about this a couple episodes ago a little bit. I feel like every child I've heard that had autism was a premature baby.
Well, I was a premature baby, and I didn't.
I don't mean it that direction. I just mean that.
But let me address that. So let me use my granddaughter as an example. My granddaughter was, by the way. My good night, Charlene. My granddaughter was born about 2 weeks prematurely. Her mom had a placental abruption, and they both almost died. And my granddaughter had to be taken by cesarean section. She had to be resuscitated after they removed her. She had mercurial, or whatever it's called, poisoning, because she swallowed feces. They medevaced her from our community here in Las Cruces to El Paso to a neonatal unit, where she was put on a breathing tube, and they put what they call a cool cap on her head to minimize the swelling of the brain. So she had that on for a while. After that, after like, I want to say about 2 or 3 weeks of all of that stuff being on her, they removed all of that. They did an MRI to see how much brain damage she had encountered. And she has a minimal spot on her brain, the occipital lobe of her brain. Now, she's diagnosed as being a high-function autistic. I don't see her as being autistic. She does have a lot of sensory stuff. I see her as having more of a sensory disorder, which is something that is often found in people with autism. But I don't see her as being autistic. And I've worked with a lot of autistic people in my 24 years that I've been teaching. So I don't know. But I will say, because of my training, the education that I had to undergo, both in psychology and also in special education, that oftentimes children that are born prematurely their bodies are not fully developed, their brains, their lungs, their eyes, all kinds of things. And you do find disabilities in a lot of premature babies because they're just not developed. So we are just a lot better. You know, I remember before I went into special education, like, you didn't really hear about autism. This is back in the late 80s and early 90s. You know, I had never heard of autism until my son was in elementary school. He was like in, I think, the 2nd or 3rd grade. And he had a kid in his class that had Asperger's syndrome.
Yeah, that's what we called it back then.
Well, no, autism is it's been called autism, but people that are higher functioning autistics are usually labeled as Asperger. There's particular conditions that go with.
Well, they told me they don't use that term anymore. They just say that you're on the spectrum.
Yeah, because
they grouped everything together because it is discriminating. So it's all grouped together now, and in different parts of the country it's different. You know, it's worded differently and everything. So
so but I had never heard of autism or anything like that before until my son was in elementary school, and I wasn't a teacher at the time either, so it wasn't
Cheers, everybody.
But I can't remember the point I was making with that. But you just didn't hear of autism before that. Oh, I know where I was going to go with that. So you just didn't really hear about autism before that. But there's a law. It's a federal law. It's an acronym called IDEA. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, I think is what it means. And it guides special education from a federal level that all states have to follow particular guidelines with. And one of the things that has happened with IDEA over the last 30 years is that they employed in the language the concept of child find. And one of the things that we found out,
What?
child find, like I found this.
Oh, okay.
And what child find does, because one of the things that we have learned over research over at least the last 30 years in any special ed circumstance, is that the earlier that you identify a person with a disability and you begin treatment or intervention or whatever you want to call it, the better the outcome that that child is going to have when they graduate high school. The more that they're going to normalize, the more that they're going to learn appropriate.
Right, but that always comes with the other side, meaning that they might overdiagnose. Or and I can tell you guys right now, and some people will agree, but they still have things that they just don't know how to explain, or at least like to Jason's point, you might just not have a doctor anywhere within the whatever every state around your state that even knows anything about it, but there might be a doctor somewhere on the other side of the world that does know more about it. For instance, my son has a thing, and he still does it to an extent, but I think it's still a normal thing for him. When he will look at, say, the TV at an angle, and so he would do this for the longest time, like to more of to a point where like we didn't know if he had a hearing issue. So they went and tested his hearing, and they tested his eyesight as well, and there was no issues. And they still don't know why. I think maybe it has something to do with him being having autism. He is trying to look at it from a different angle. He looks at things from a side eye, and they never could really explain that. It's not a specific autism thing. It wasn't. He didn't have a hearing. We thought maybe he was like trying to put his good ear towards whatever he was trying to hear, but that wasn't an issue. They checked his brain. We did all these. They had all these like
electrodes.
It was electrodes on his head and all that. So it's just an interesting thing. It doesn't really bother anything. It's just something they couldn't explain.
Well, there's a couple of things that I want to say to that. First of all, it's a story. I had a little girl when I first started out that she had like this syndrome. I can't remember. It was a genetic condition. And she was in a low incidence class. So a class for kids that were severe. In this particular class, it was for severe and profound intellectually disabled kids. And she loved balls. That little girl could play with balls all day long. And it was the craziest thing because she would be sitting there with her back to me, and I would throw the ball and she would grab it like that. So people with autism, they have a lot of sensory things, and it's a developmental thing in the brain. Autism is a developmental thing in the brain. And
difference, yeah.
And
weird.
There are so many sensory things that, and it's so individual to each person that has autism.
Yeah.
That it's like, I don't know that we'll ever fully understand it, because you can't get in there and dig around in a person's brain and physically look in there to see what's going on. It's, I
like science fiction about it, though. There's some like different theories on it's our part of our evolutionary jump, like how some like savants in the autistic world, where there is certain ways that you could be like this, like hyper excel at a certain thing, and some people think that might just be sort of a stepping stone. So there was a whole show, a TV show called Alphas. I don't know if anyone saw that, but It was called Alphas, and it was really kind of cool. It was like basically these people that they had an ability that they didn't realize at first, but then like this government agent was like going around like collecting up people that had these like abilities, these alpha abilities, where one of them was this like this autistic man with this ability where he could see signals in the air that no one else could see, and so to the average person, it looked like he was just doing like a thing that like a mentally retarded person might do, as far as like like talking to himself and looking at something that's not there and kind of thing. And but it was really there, and they were kind of like this whole other view of what if they're actually seeing like this other dimension and stuff. Like they have this whole other like way to view things that we don't, and it's an interesting perspective, at least, to think that maybe we're along some sort of evolutionary. We might have been forcing the evolutionary change. Obviously, a lot of people are saying our food, our metals in the food, and plastics and all that stuff, right? And I probably agree. But is it possible that the way that how fast we're moving with technology is also altering our brains in certain ways? Not only do we have lots of different chemicals through drugs and such, like self-administered, but then also the stuff that's in our food. And then on top of that, we're just like so hooked up to this technology. And we already know for a fact that kids with autism connect to technology on a different level than we do. I don't know. I know we keep getting into this conversation on the show. We've gotten into it a few times recently now, but it's just something that fascinates, I think, a lot of us, and people in the comments for sure are into that for sure. Go ahead, Kim. Well, I want to hear from Smashley. I think Smashley knows by now how to jump in, but I also
there's just a lot going on. Yeah. I'm agreeing with the guys in the comments. I'm
agreeing with the comments. You're just going with strength in numbers. Fine. Go ahead.
Because I mean it is in the food supply. Because, I mean, she was just saying she didn't hear about it growing up, but I mean, over the years, all the stuff on the shelves has all just become there because it's easier. It doesn't make it better for us. But also with technology, it's like you can't have your kids watching more than even 30 minutes a day, and it starts depleting their brain cells. So I think it's just all a domino effect.
You're saying that it's in the food supply with that, and a lot of depression is linked to food.
It is. I mean,
a lot of depression is linked to certain foods that you eat. So
food is medicine.
Yeah. It is. So people if they're poisoning our food, they're poisoning us.
Yeah, people need to get past just, throwing something in your mouth to get rid of the hunger feeling like you're feeding an entire system.
So there again, we go to the price raise. The price increases in California. Is that the end of fast food? Will this push for us to go to fruits and vegetables again and cooking our own foods again, making our own lunches, meal prep?
What we need to do.
Lisa and Joe, I'm not sure. I still think that there is a category for mentally retarded. I think that's still
It's not called mentally retarded anymore.
You were saying they changed that. Well, yeah. I mean, and who knows? Maybe that's different everywhere, but I don't really have any examples of that anymore nearby. But I remember in school the clear difference. Within, what I mean is within that class of special needs, you had a varying difference in the way that they would be, and the ones that needed more attention, I guess, that had to have like more was it the personal aid? I guess I think those are I don't know if they're less or more now. But I think there are more kids now in special needs class that don't need an attendant, but they qualify, like Kim. Like do you have a lot of kids with attendants in your class?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so what I mean is you have a special needs class, but but they don't, like, most of them don't have an adult that's like.
I don't work with kids that are intellectually disabled predominantly. I have some that are on the borderline of intellectual disabilities. They're low, their IQs are low.
I see. I forgot about that difference. Yeah.
I work with kids that have learning disabilities predominantly, but I have had kids who were hearing impaired. I have had kids that were visually impaired. So, the biggest thing that I have, like, I work with a lot of kids that have really bad learning disabilities, specific learning disabilities, which means that they have a normal IQ, but they have some kind of a barrier like dyslexia or dyscalculia or something like that, that is a barrier to their learning. And I teach self-contained classes, which is they're pulled out of the gen ed environment because they need a slower pace and they need more modifications in their curriculum to learn.
Yeah, but we need more adults willing to teach children like this instead of labeling them as something and like dumb, basically, because they're unwilling and not patient enough to handle them.
Well, that's what Dr. Heath was saying. Like, one of the worst things that we can do is label people as a thing, as a thing of any kind, whatever the thing is, as a victim, as a stoner, as a PTSD, patient, as a I don't know, like there's a whole bunch of things that we've talked about as far as that goes, but like you don't want to just label someone as their disorder.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and you have to be very, very careful. That's one of the things that special education teachers, we aren't just teachers, but we're also advocates. And so,
it's awesome, Elisa.
That's where you don't call a kid, oh, he's autistic. No, he's a student with autism. He has autism.
Right. That's
not all of who he is. He's David. He's a senior at Oregon Mountain High School. He likes, I can't think of the name. I think it's Fortnite. It's just like all of us, we all have things that we could label ourselves as mother, sister, teacher, whatever, but those are just aspects of part of who we are.
Being human.
Yeah. It's like kids always freak out when they see me at the grocery store. Miss Axtell, what are you doing here? Well,
I don't know about you guys, but it gives me a little bit of like, I don't know what the right word is, solace, I guess. I guess this show is really what helps, because having perspective from a lot of different angles, and we talk about things like anger, we talk about emotions and stuff, and there's a difference now. I notice I'm noticeably able to sort of stop in the middle of, say, being frustrated or being sad or angry, and being able to identify what's going on, and identifying it, sort of pulling yourself out of the situation. Like, oh, I'm like, this is when, at a point, like say when my son makes me angry or something, instead of reacting like I used to do, it's much more easy to take that pause and be like, oh, this is whatever, and not just like my son, but like anything. If I make a mistake, like I break a plant or whatever, like it's something that I'm like, oh, well, this is just one of those things that happens, like when sometimes it feels like things are stacking up on us, like bad things are happening to us, multiple in a row. Oh man, like when can I catch a break? Well, those are all things that happen and that can happen. And so when you just go, oh, well, it's just the things that happen, rather than going, oh, it's just because I'm cursed and, God hates me. I have what's wrong with me, this and that. It's hard. It's hard because we have this we talk about it amongst other podcast hosts and different live streamers, where you have the roller coaster of the up and down and the viewership and stuff like that. And it kind of feels a lot like the roller coaster in your life as far as emotions go. You have your ups and downs. You have your good days and your bad days, and some days it just feels like nothing's working out right. Like I have some shows where I just can't seem to read. I can't seem to nothing's working. The computers are all messed up. The internet's down, whatever. And it's like, that's the yin and the yang, right? Like
that's Mercury retrograde is what that is.
Well, right. Some of it, sometimes it's maybe my fault, but what I mean is like,
no. Did you hear what I said?
A retrograde. You were talking about.
No, it's Mercury retrograde.
Are you saying I drugged myself?
No.
Wouldn't I die if I took Mercury?
No, the planet Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of communication, and supposedly, like, there's certain times of the year when it goes retrograde. It doesn't really start spinning the other direction or whatever, but it does something, and it causes all kinds of chaos and anything related to communication. And
we are all, everybody in the audience and everyone who's talking about the metals in our food and stuff, don't even worry about it. It's about 10 years. I've talked about this a few times, but about 10 years, they say, and our magnetic poles are going to flip 90 degrees. So the equator is going to be the north and south poles, and then and then where the equator is going to be.
Yeah. Do you know why the poles are moving?
It's a galactic thing. It's actually ripples being sent from the center of the galaxy, and it's going to affect our sun. And it's going to affect basically the radio wave or the magnetosphere, I think, or whatever it is that's keeping our solar system from all of the galactic particles and dust and stuff. That like wave that's going over. I think it's either magnetic or anyway. My point is, it comes from the center. And it's going to do its own flip for some reason. I forget what that is, but it's going to send ripples through our whole solar system, and our planet's going to be out of protection for a day. It's going to be. I'm describing it probably, but for about one day, where our planet's going to be like exposed to.
Rapture number 17 or 18.
Rapture? No, I don't know. This could be. It's pretty close to that. I mean, look, we all thought it was 2012, right? But I mean, it could have been off by 20, 30 years ish, like 20, 30 years in the grand scheme of things.
Well, you got to remember that we run off of a 13-month calendar.
We've been messed up the whole time. Yeah, we screwed ourselves up in the time.
People forget. They're like, oh, I did the math off of this calendar, not this calendar. Well, there you go.
I heard we're supposed to have 13 months, not 12.
The math works out. The math really does work out. And if you do, the history does prove that there was 13 months at one point in time.
Yeah.
But
the zodiac calendar.
So go ahead, Jason. Sorry, I thought you were.
When did we change it? Who knows?
When did we change what?
The calendar from 13 to 12.
Chris.
Well, the 13-month calendar, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Mayan calendar, right?
I don't know. I haven't jumped down that rabbit hole yet.
I know that we used to have a different calendar in ancient times, and that changed with the birth of Christ. So
right, but then the Mayans had a separate calendar, right? Yeah.
It changed when antiquity ended, which was not long after the birth of Christ. So
we've been doomed since the beginning.
A lot of people say we're going to be going back to the original calendar soon here. Once all the white hats take over
the Jewish calendar. That's why Easter is never the same time, because Passover. The reason that we celebrate Easter is because Easter is so many days before or after Passover. It has something to do with Passover.
The 13 months.
Isn't Passover the last meal that he had? So shouldn't Easter be like 3 days after that every time? Why do they keep switching it up?
I don't think it was the last meal.
We looked this up on the show when we were talking about it. Let me see if I still have it.
I don't know, but I found this, though, on space.com. It says, why do Earth's magnetic poles flip? Every so often, Earth's magnetic poles completely flip. What causes this to happen, and how do these reversals affect life on Earth? And it's a whole article about it. What causes the poles? What were you going to say, Kim, about the cause of it? You asked me, do I know what?
I think what you're reading is a theory. Most things are theory. Science is not.
Oh, they're saying it's happened in the past, though. They're saying it's they think.
Well, they suspect that it's happened in the past because I don't think anybody was around the last time that a magnetic pole flip happened. Because I would think
but they're talking about deserts that have evidence of being oceans.
Catastrophic that happened. So, and I don't think that there's any written record of that. So right now, if it's not scientific fact that I know of.
Magnetic pole or magnetic field varies at very short time scales and extremely long ones, ranging from milliseconds to millions of years. The interaction of the magnetic field with charged particles in space can alter it at short time scales, which
You ever watch the show Lost?
No, I don't like any of that.
A little bit, not really.
Sounds like they're trying to move the island.
I know how. So, but what I saw a discussion happening on my newsfeed one day about magnetic poles moving and stuff like that, and so I was like, what the hell where are they getting their evidence to say this, right? And so it launched me into reading a bunch of scholarly articles and stuff. The magnetic poles are moving. They have moved. They're moving incrementally. They've been moving incrementally for a while now, a few decades or several decades or something. I can't remember exactly. But the reason that they're attributing them moving is because we're pumping the groundwater out, and it's causing the Earth to move. It's causing it to shift. Is what they're purporting.
This is saying that fluctuations in the magnetic field caused by the movements of metallic material in the outer core have brought about full reversals of the magnetic field polarity in Earth's past.
Yeah, I think that that's a theory.
Paleomagnetic studies, which have studied previous states of the magnetic field.
I think those are theories. I don't think that there's any definitive proof of any of that.
It's all science. You can be,
Exactly. And that's the other thing,
I mean, if it's science, it can be disproven if somebody decides, you know what I mean?
Well, science is nothing more than research methodology.
That's what I mean. What I meant by saying that was that I don't mean it's science to assert that it's true because it's science. But what I mean is, to your point, it's science, meaning they just it's something that they researched, and who knows if it's really true or.
Well, and there's probably some pretty strong evidence that there's truth to it. I'm not discounting that it's not factual.
Doesn't say theory anywhere though.
Huh?
They're not purporting that it's their theory. They're just saying this is how.
Yeah, they're not. They're
Faith.com.
You have to go to the research behind all of that and look at it.
Connor Feely. January 22nd this year, actually.
Easter always falls on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the vernal equinox.
That's why it keeps changing on us, because that varies.
Yeah, I knew it.
Why does the sky matter?
It has something to do with Passover too, doesn't it?
Jesus had his last meal and then he rose again 3 days later, but nobody cares because the sky doesn't line up.
It's probably because that holiday was probably a pagan holiday before it was Christian. That was what they used for. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Most of the holidays were taken over by Christianity.
Well, you just have to remember that when a lot of this stuff was going on, people didn't write. They didn't write things down. People were superstitious. The scientific method wasn't developed until the 1600s is when they started stumbling onto that stuff. So, you didn't have any recorded anything. And so people followed the moon. They were very pagan. Most people were pagan in the world. And so they followed the moon cycles and stuff like that. And it's just a tradition that's really hard to get rid of. And the Romans, what the Romans were really good at doing when they conquered a lot of these places was, you know, they let people they were tolerant because the Romans back then were pagans as well. So they let people keep most of their pagan stuff and just inculcated it into everything. And so, you know, the traditions got kept or whatever. So, and there's probably some other stuff in there too, like, you know, a lot of holidays, religious holidays coincided with pagan holidays. That was more the Catholic Church later on rather than the Romans. But, you know, Catholic Church
good night.
Roman. And good night, Georgia.
Guys, if you haven't shared and liked the video, do so. I can get you on this wheel. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to spin it here soon. Chris, are you still here, man? Come on up. Can't believe everything I read on Google. Well, I didn't. I read it from a website that I found from Google. Yes.
Google leads you where it wants you to go.
Well, but space.com is a fairly well-known publication. That's why I clicked on that one. I could. I
don't know anything about what's right on websites.
Well, what I do is I also like to go to. I use not Google when I search things. I go to the Brave website, the Brave search engine. It's actually its own browser and everything, and I'll search things on that as well and come up with similar. But also on Google, if you just skip a couple pages, you can usually skip by the ones that they're.
Yeah, all the sponsored ones.
Yeah.
Pay to read.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said all the pay to read ones.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. All right. Let's pull up the wheel here. Smashley, you probably haven't went and got yourself a number on locals, have you?
No, I didn't know I was supposed to.
I've only been talking about it for several weeks.
You know, for some reason it's ringing a bell. But I don't know the details.
Oh, yeah. Pam Richter. Or Richie. I'm not sure if I ever see you during the show in the comments or anything, but thank you for subscribing. You're number 20. I got to put down number 20. So there's 20, well, less than 20 people. Post? Yeah, it's the one that's pinned. And I make one every week, and I spin from it 3 times a week. So, and it depends on your level of subscription on what you get out of it. But yeah, I try not to go over it every time because I want to make it a.
Does it matter what kind of comment? I can just be like, hello.
Yeah, no, I mean, just say something, hit that like button, and whatnot. I'll put you down as 21 then.
Some of these
I'm never on locals.
Discouraging.
Say again, Jason?
Some of these facts are just discouraging. It says globally, on average, 1 man dies by suicide every minute of every day.
Yep.
Wow.
Suicide rates in men are really high. Crazy.
That is just wow.
And it's not connected to how poor you are. It's like a thing. Whether it's like a privilege of the well off or something, like I forget how it's worded, but people who are usually doing well are the ones that commit suicide. Or not doing well, but like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's a statistic out there about that it's not like it doesn't like usually poor people are not the ones that are committing suicide.
Well, you figure we've been on here 86 minutes. That's 86 men alone. That's not counting the females that have committed suicide just since we've been on here globally.
Yeah.
And 22 a day are veterans.
Let's add that into the females, males, like even the teens.
I mean, that's globally, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder where like the worst is. To Kim, though, I don't know. We've been
say that, yeah, that's globally. I mean, we're a global show. We
Yeah.
know people all over the world. You know, we talk to them daily.
But that's not my point. My point is, I wonder which, like, if there's a more concentrated area of the globe where that happens more. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's hard for me to say, like, well, like that makes me imagine every type of person out there, every type of country we have, whatever. But I'm sure, like, I wonder if it's in America the most, or it's just a curiosity. But Kim, the 22 veterans a day, we've been saying that since I was in Iraq. Do we think that's still the same now? Is it more or less? Do we think they did that study years and years ago?
Well, I looked at a thing a couple of years ago, or it's been the last 2 years, might have been a year ago, and it's down to like 21 a day, or 21 a day, or something like 19, somewhere around in there. So they have made strides, but too, we're not as engaged in war as much as we were a few years ago, you know, because we were from Afghanistan and stuff. So maybe that has something to do with it. Our military has shrunk. That may have something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know what the variables are that may have caused that to change.
It's like shrunk, you say?
Hey, I gotta get off here, guys.
What's that?
I gotta get off here.
All right.
Say good night.
Love you,
Smash.
Great one.
I'll let you know if you won. But did you shared us out? I don't think I got you on this wheel.
No, I haven't.
Hit that like button and share us out, you guys, and get yourself on this wheel. William, I see you coming in. Thank you, brother, for being a subscriber. I'm not sure if you got on the number wheel, though. Did you get a number over on locals? So I'm going to spin that after this. I know you just did, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I got the number yet.
Well, I put it on the screen, but I'll put it on the here too. Yeah, there it is. Number 21.
Hell yeah.
Margaret, I did get you on for the X, but let me get you on for the Facebook. And I'll get you a smash as well. Yeah, I wasn't able to listen to the entire show with you and Steve-O, but I did hear quite a bit, and definitely always appreciate your passion for the. I'm glad you became a green thumb.
Yeah, it's a great world to be in.
William, you're number one. You're not number one. You're I thought Perry was number one. Yeah, you did this. You did this before, William. Oh no, you're number two. You're number two. Got him. But yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, you're trying to leave, aren't you, Smash? So you have a good night. Hey, what's up, Misty?
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, we'll see. Go check out Smashly. This is where you're supposed to do.
Sorry. I don't like doing that part.
You do a shout out. You gotta throw out.
Ash's Garden. Follow me.
Well, you gotta do your next show. Your next show.
Oh yeah, Sunday night. Sunday night at 7 Eastern Standard Time.
There you go. There it is.
Time zones.
Go check it out.
But yeah, come on over. Peace out, friends.
Bye.
Misty, what's up? Hit that like button, share us out. Guys, we still got 20 strong on the page there. Appreciate you all hanging out. Let me see where we're at on the Rumble. Rumblers just chilling to listen. About 7 people hanging out over there. Rumble's been I've been getting reduced visibility on Rumble. It's weird. I've gained. We're at 379 followers. It'd be really cool to get to that 380. Who's going to be number 380? G-Rod. Let me see, brother. I don't know if I got you a number yet. Oh, there's Sandy. Sandy, did you already have one? Sometimes people comment more good things in there, but I don't want to number you twice.
Oh, guys, my battery is saying it's time for me. Appreciate y'all. Have a great week, everybody. Great weekend coming up. Remember, battle that mental health any way you can.
Check out Jason's Mental Health Mondays.
Yep. I got mental health every day, but
whatever you say.
Mental health every day, but talk about it, and it's okay to not be okay. Depression is real, mental health is real. As long as we can talk about it, we'll get through it. And if we can't live together, then we're going to end up dying alone. There ain't no reason to die alone. No reason at all. So I love you guys. I will see you all a little bit later. Have a great one.
Where did Kim go? Kim booped. I wasn't leaving yet. I still have a couple of spins to do here. That's okay. Well, let's see if she pops back in. But for now, let's see which one. No, I don't like that one. I guess we can do that for now. All right. So this is for the liking and sharing of the video. Thank you. Got you, Steven and Sandy. I just gave you number 22. G-Rod, I'm not sure if it didn't refresh. Okay, there you are. Number 23. This is the last time for this wheel. You know what? I need to pee. And I'm all by myself, so I'm gonna run something. Rose, what number am I? Rose, what's your name on locals? Did you get a number on locals? You're not a number on this wheel. This is for liking and sharing tonight's video. But the post that is pinned at the top of the Indoor Farmer community on locals is the weekly post. Gerald, you're number 23, and Sandy, you're 22. I'm surprised you guys just got on there. 22, 23. And there's Kim.
Yeah, I keep having problems. Facebook keeps kicking me out. I keep getting a message that...
Have a great night, Bradley. I'll let you know if you win, brother.
About something about StreamYard and access or something like that.
Yeah, every now and then you have to redo it. I did like and share, but I didn't go to locals. Rose, I know there's a bunch of them. Rumble is like a YouTube. Rumble is like a video platform. Locals is what you had signed up for. Wait, I think you did. Rose, I believe you're a locals member, where you had to pay the $2 a month or $20 for the year. I want to say that you had signed up, but it's not a problem. That's a separate thing. But yeah, you're on this spin here to get a chance for a night ticket. Oh, you got a call. Bzz, bzz. All right, I got
a notification.
I need to go use the restroom. I'll be right back. You can say hi to everyone if you like.
What's going on, everybody? So I woke up this morning. I can't see comments on here. on my phone. But I woke up this morning. I have like a empire chin. It's driving me crazy. I think something's colonized. I don't know what to say. I'm all out of words, man. My brain is like fried. It's been the last 2 weeks. My brother passed away, and it's been a rough last 2 weeks. His funeral was today, and I'll just be glad to be able to get back to some semblance of normal now that this is all done and over with. I got a cat hair stuck to my face that keeps tickling my nose.
Yeah, Kim, you didn't really get into it that much. I mean, it's up to you, but you know, you were telling me that you didn't have the greatest relationship with him at the end, and I can understand.
We never did. My brother was significantly older than me, and all of us kids got dragged through our parents' marriages and divorces. And so Ron got dragged through his mom and his first stepmom. And his stepmom, my dad's second wife, was, oh my God, she was a horrible human. And both of my brothers got dragged through that. And then my dad divorced her, and then he married my mom, and then I came along, and they got a divorce, and then I ended up with a stepmom. But my brothers both of my brothers are very angry, bitter men, and very hurt. And for some reason, my brother that just passed away took out on me. I don't understand why, but all the anger and hatred and whatever, I was the person that got it. And so he's been, and I don't mean like little things. He used to badmouth me to people. My brother was a police chief here in Las Cruces, and he was very well liked. And every chance he got, he ran me down to people. And my dad used to get really, really mad at him, and they would have words because my brother was vicious to me. He did some really ugly things to me. And about 30 years ago, I just decided, I had this realization that all I ever wanted was to fit in. I wanted to be part of my family. And a big part of being part of my family was through my brother. And I finally had a realization that in order for me to fit in and be a part of that I would have to be like them. And I didn't want to sacrifice who I was to be a part of that. And I knew that I probably never would fit in regardless, even if I sacrificed myself to fit in, I would never be accepted. And so I walked away. I let go of all of that, and I made peace with that. And my dad passed away in 2006, and I was living in California at the time, and I came home for my dad's funeral and to help, dispose of all my dad's stuff and whatnot. And my brother was decent to me. He was civil, probably because there was a lot of scrutiny on him, and he didn't want people to know what an asshole he was to me in real life. But that was the last time I had talked to my brother. And then I moved back, and I knew the last at least 5 years that he was very sick, and he was, probably going to die. And, I didn't feel the need to have a conversation with him. I felt at peace with the decisions that I made, and I still feel at peace. I have no regrets. But, it's hard. It's still hard because, just because he was an asshole to me and I made the decision to not be around him anymore, doesn't mean that I loved him any less. He was still my brother, and I still loved him in spite of everything. So it's hard.
I kind of had a similar situation with my dad. Didn't really have a good relationship at all, but yeah, he passed, and it's like, I didn't really feel that connected or that upset about it, but I think I know what you mean for sure. I'm gonna do this spin though. I didn't want to be rude while you were talking. What's up, Craig? Craig, if you real quick wanna smash that like button and share out the video, I will put you on this wheel. Otherwise, we're about to spin it right now, my man. If you wanna just say that you liked and shared. I saw the like go up. But yeah, Kim, it's weird how it's like family for some reason. If it seems like I think most people feel like they are different than their family. It's weird how a lot of people think that. We all feel like we don't fit in, but yet everybody in the family is different. Everybody in the family has their own, uniqueness, and I don't feel like I can fully conform a lot of times, and it's like, well, I'm not going to try to do like you said, try to fit yourself into that hole, because anyone can see that. Like if they already would have issues with you, then it's not going to change their mind if you're trying to sing to their tune or whatever. It's not it's just, I don't know. It doesn't placating. I got you, Craig. I'll get you on there, bro. Placating to what you think might make people like you more is never going to work out. That's what I found doing this social media thing. Some people will chase whatever the algorithm tells them to chase. I chase that, rather than dozens and dozens of new followers. I'm chasing one or two that really listen to my words and actually, see what I'm about, versus trying to just conform to whatever the popular thing is. You can kind of look at that in family as well. Whether that's
yeah, it's a little different. Like for me, at least, I've always had a strong sense of identity, and I've always been the kind of person that if you don't like me, okay, well, fuck off.
right.
I am who I am. But it's different when it's your own family.
Good luck, guys.
And you're rejected in your own family because your family is
I feel that way.
To be
yeah.
Who is there for you and protects you and whatever. It's supposed to be your closest bonds, and I just
you're supposed to build
that with
not
my,
separate. Yeah.
I just didn't have that with my brother and certain other family members. So, and I was always chasing that. It was like, what's wrong with me? Why can't you accept me? It was like the little lamb that's born, that's rejected by its mama, it's like, so it was hard. And, now that he's dead, it's like, it's just brought all of that stuff to the surface, and I'm trying not to push it away. I'm trying to heal so that I don't carry this shit with me anymore,
Right. I just try to think of like how a lot of people seem to go through similar problems with family,
Yeah.
Margaret Jet, Miss MJ's Baked Goods here. What's up, Margaret? Happy or congratulations on winning the game night ticket. Now we're going to do another spin for my subscribers. Kim, I don't think you got in on this yet.
What? Probably not, dude. Like, I'm so far from.
That's okay.
Time, like,
well, that's why I was saying it. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't, but I like to point it out because you're qualified. So what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Rose Booza. If you want a minute to go in there and get yourself a number, let me know, because you definitely do not have a number on this list. Because we'll probably wrap things up after this spin. But yeah, congrats, Margaret. Margaret gets herself on in the games. Well, which she already was. She was already eligible to play this week, which means that she gets to have her name on twice, which means she can get on Sir Steva, or not Sir Steva, Chris Fisher's team and Timothy's team if she wants to. And whoever else is the team captain. All right. I need to get busy. I'm going to try to build a new shop for this week, but it's okay next time. Okay, Rose. No problem. Rose, it's going to be an every week thing. Why is 5 still on there? Is 5 yesterday's number? I thought I took it off last time. Let's see. It is still there, but let's see. Dolores is who won last night, and Dolores is, I think you're right, number 5. Let me check. Yeah, good catch, because if she won again, I would have caught it then, I guess, but since I just paid her last night. Cool. And Perry was the other winner, so there's no number 1. Okay, we're good there. Yeah, it's a every week thing. So anybody that didn't get in on this, there'll be a new one Sunday night after game night on locals on the indoorfarmer.locals.com. And you can also subscribe on Facebook to get in on this. All right, good luck, everybody. I'm giving 2.5 times your subscription level, not your total number that you pay. But if you are, say, like if you pay $5, you're at the pro level. But if you pay $6, I'm still only giving you $12. You know, I'm still only giving you the 2.5, and then if you want to go up to pro, you get a chance to play on screen as a team captain as well. So there's a lot of reasons to go up to it. And when you play as a team captain, you do have to be on screen, but you automatically get a prize for being on screen as a team captain. So you automatically win just for playing as a captain. So I think it's worth it. Number 11. Number 11. Let's see who number 11 is. 9, 10, 11. Holy shit.
Who's number 11?
Margaret Jett. Wow. What are the odds, Margaret? What are the odds? Oh my God. Wow. 2 separate wheels, 2 different lists of names, 2 different apps. Wow. The list was made at, like, you had your number days ago, and this the other wheel was made tonight from likes and shares. Holy cow. That just goes to show you, Margaret, when you give, it's like you get it, you get back. When you put yourself out there, when you put your love out there, you put your your time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears, all that good stuff. You put that out in the world, it does come back. It may not come back in the way that you want when you want it, but there is something about being generous and being and speaking of, I should take a moment to shout out to our man Leslie Cobb. If you're out there, my guy, Country Boy Weeds. Guys, keep him in your hearts over the weekend. Definitely, well, always, of course, but definitely this weekend, we want to make sure that he's feeling the love, because he's got to make it through the weekend without having another stroke. And then he's got to see a surgeon on Monday. So yeah, definitely going to be rooting for him, because he's another one that's just super generous, like Margaret is, and just like they're both sponsoring game night just out of the kindness of their hearts, not because they have some product they're trying to sell. What's up, Mama Rochi in the house? Hello. We just got done with our wheel spin for tonight, the last one for that wheel, so I can unpin that post over on Locals. It is a supporter only post. Wait, did I make it? I hope I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, so that one's unpinned. I'll make a new one on Sunday after game night. And remember, if you want to play in game night, you have to be able to comment on the post in Locals as well, unless you're only subscribed on Facebook. Man, my throat. Too much talking. But Kim, I appreciate your vulnerability, and we do love you. We're with you, and hopefully you can reach out to anybody if you need to talk about anything. But it's not always something that you want to go through alone, but sometimes you have to have that. You have to have that alone time. So
it's been a reflective time for me, and just.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when I go through things like this, I just shut down and I shut my feelings away and whatever. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying, because you don't heal that way. And so I really would like to heal.
It's true.
Rather than carry shit with me. So. Yeah,
and you actually find that being able to share, in the right setting, at least, is therapeutic. It's helpful. That's what tonight's topic sort of is about us just having a place where we can kind of share and let that kind of thing out. So I appreciate it, and thank you for coming. I mean, I know you could easily not be here. You need to take the time for sure, but if it helps, I hope it helped as well. So and everybody was really there was so much engagement tonight, guys. I really appreciate that as well. Oh, Craig says, how do I get, oh man, I totally missed your comment, Craig. I'm sorry, brother. How do I get a number on the indoor thing? I ask, but man, I'm never able to stay for these. I'm always busy as fuck. Well, hey, listen, Craig, if you're still here, man, I just subscribed to help out and maybe catch a game night. That's awesome, Margaret. Oh, okay. Craig, let me know if you're still here, first of all. Let's see if Craig's still here. And then I'll let you know, because this is exactly the reason why I'm doing this number wheel now. Because Craig says he's never able to stay for these. He's always busy AF. He just subscribed to help out and catch a game night. Okay, Craig. Okay, no worries. He said he's not worried about tonight. That's cool. That's exactly the reason why I started doing this other thing. So what I'm doing is once a week at the beginning of the week, right after game night, I'm making a post inside Locals, which you pay to access. And I just pin it at the top of my community. I usually put a picture in there of me or something. This time it was my son and I. And I put on there the dates. I say this is a new, number post for giveaways. Put the dates in there. It'll, and it should be super easy to tell. And then you just comment and like that post. And when you comment, I reply with your number. And I just do that. And whenever you get a chance, you can go over there and throw yourself in the mix. But now this one will be over with until Sunday night. You saw that? Okay. Yeah, the post is still there now, but I unpinned it and it's not going to be used again. So if anyone gets in on it now, it's a little too late. But yeah, 3 times a week or so is what I've been spending it. So Margaret will be getting some cash coming her way. Yeah, thank you, Craig. I appreciate it, man. I want you to get on there. I want you to get some wins. I want to help everybody come up. I think if I can continue this model where we can make our community, the indoor farmer community, valuable to sponsors and other people that have their own thing to promote, their own products, then we can have a win-win-win like we have been doing. If I can make it where I can give you guys a value back higher than what you're paying me, then that's a total win in my book. That's boom. We're cooking with motor oil now. All right. Well, let's get out of here, Kim. I really appreciate it, and it's been a great episode. I hope you guys all have a good weekend. Come back and check us out. Kim's show on Sunday, the Legit Bean Review, and then game night after at 5:30 Central Time. Legit Bean Reviews at 2 o'clock Central Time, I believe. So I keep forgetting because it's at 1 o'clock your time, but
yeah, right.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. If you haven't yet, hit that like button. Do that for us because everybody knows, everybody can feel it. You can feel that people just need to have more open dialogue nowadays, and that's what People in the Box is all about. So if you haven't yet, smash that button, share us out, follow the channels, follow Kim. Have a good night. Thanks, guys. Kim, you want to shout anything out?
No, I'm good.
It's good night.
Just everybody, good night.
All right. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Good night.
Wait, that's not the right button. What? I don't have our outro mixed in here already? Oh, goodness gracious. That's unfortunate, Kim.
What?
Where it is now.
No, everything's all weird.
I have it in my other, for some reason, I have it in my other brand, but not on this one. Switch brands, I guess, real quick. Oh, here it is. I'm just going to add it in real fast. I'm going to actually add it in. There we go. my throat's a little bit dry, but
well, just wait. You're going to get some nasty ass weather coming your way in the next couple of days, and it's supposed to last all the way through off and on.
More mushroom.
I'm thinking more like tornadoes.
Oh yeah, but I'm in an area right here where we don't really get any. But we do get plenty of tornadoes in certain, there's a certain area, certain towns that you can live in. We call it Tornado Alley. Like you're going to get tornadoes in those areas. And it's just weird, like people that live there. Like, why would you live? Well, I guess you had to at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom's family, I think, were from Tornado Alley because that's what she used to call it.
Just waiting on this thing to upload. Oh, you know what I meant to do? I meant to bring it up earlier when Jason was on to talk about like what we should talk about next topics. Let's come brainstorm with it for a couple of topics, so we don't have to maybe think about it the last second. We can think about it the week before. We can think about it on that show for the next show.
Yeah.
But maybe it just has to kind of come up as we go. So we'll see what we come up with next week, guys. But it's always got to be something where we can share our perspective on different things, not necessarily just our opinions on everything. We do like to talk about our opinions, of course. I don't mind that, but we always like to try to find something we can have a actual experience on, or or share your perspective, being that you didn't experience something. That's always fun too. Okay, here it is. It finally uploaded. Thanks again. Good night, everybody. Peace.